Hello everyone. So today we're going to be talking about a character that was voted on and you guys thought that this character should be the next video that we do. This character is very unknown and underrated but has a lot of potential, and of course we're talking about the character known as Milk. Now this character hails from Earth 9047 in the Marvel multiverse, and the creator of this character is Shali Frisch and Rurik Tyler, and the first issue of the character was the What the number 7, February 1990. Now keep in mind, all of these characters that are being mentioned henceforth in the video are characters from the 9047 universe. What that means is they are in the Humorverse, and they're not actually from the Aniverse, which some people get a little bit confused. Milk was a kind and spunky 16-year-old when she obtained her superpowers. She didn't quite understand how or why she had them, although she did speculate that she could possibly be a mutant. She joined the monster-like male superhero Cookies, which was usually her lunchroom buddy, and they became a couple of food-themed heroes. Now, almost overnight, they were feared by high-ranking supervillains such as Dr. Octopus, Juggernaut, Crag, Mad Dog, Mandarin, Sabretooth, and more than once, Milk and Cookies confronted and arrested the villain Colgate, or the more fun Colgate, pretty much a spoof on the toothpaste brand. Now, Colgate wanted revenge against Milk and Cookies for being arrested, and laid traps specifically for Cookies and Milk for 2 whole weeks. But instead of actually catching Milk and Cookies, he accidentally captured other superheroes in the Humorverse, including Chaplain America, Prince No More, the Pulverizer, Scaredevil, Spidey Man, and 3 out of the 4 Fantastical Four. Now the heroes eventually became quite famous, and Milk's picture even appeared on the cover of Variety. Milk and Cookies also served as ambassadors for the Santa Claus himself. Milk and Cookies followed the trail to Gates' lair, and on their way they met guest star Human Torch of the Fantastical Four, who was looking for his partners. Milk felt romantic attraction towards the Scorch, and she recruited him to help in Gates' lair. Now while Milk and Cookies looked for traps, Cookies decided to break a wall to enter, which was something that Milk opposed to, just in case they were wrong and it wasn't actually Gates' lair. However, Cookies distracted Milk for a second, making her look away, and when she looked back, she simply believed that the wall had a convenient hole in it, being completely oblivious that Cookies has just made it. Now Milk and Cookies entered the warehouse where Gate releases his huge Christmas-themed robot named Santa. Now Santa grabs both heroes with his hands, trapping them. Thinking quickly, Milk asks Cookies to move one of the robot's own fingers to Santa's nose, as this was the original Santa Claus's code movement to magically go up a chimney. The robot was sent up, as you guessed it, into outer space, where it then exploded. The now defenseless Gate asked for the hero's mercy. Milk felt sympathy for him, but Cookie still wanted revenge. Milk and Cookie start a philosophical argument about the situation, only for Colonel Gate to use the distraction as a chance to escape. Unfortunately for him, his way was blocked by the human Scorch and his now freed teammates. Having then succeeded, the Scorch then flirts with Milk, but Cookies insists that they should leave right away, not only due to their superheroic nature, but because he had, more importantly, parked his Jeep in a tow-away zone. Now Milk and Cookies were next seen fighting a Tyrannosaurus Rex in the streets of Riverdal, which is a spoof of Archie's home city of Riverdale. The dinosaur managed to hit Milk, who was then sent flying through a window of a local chocolate shop. Seeing Milk hurt, Cookies went completely berserk against the monster, but was still unable to defeat it. Milk recovered her senses within the cafe and noticed 4 very neat and clean teenagers: Starchy Andrews, Biddy Cooper, Moronica, and Jerkhead, all eating hamburgers. Now, all of them were parodies of Archie Comics characters. Milk then decided that the youngers' diet was completely unhealthy and that she should warn them against that type of eating habit. She could hear Cookies fighting the dinosaur, and she even considered helping her friend instead. However, she decided against it as the children needed her advice and Cookies could take care of himself. Now, when Milk insists that the kids should eat fruit instead or risk losing their teeth, Starchy Andrews revealed that they were really old people disguised as teens. Apparently, they had been working as, quote, typical teenagers for decades. When she left, she saw that Cookies had actually defeated the reptile at chess. Now, moving on to the Infinity Wart saga. Yes, you heard me right. I said Infinity Wart saga. The supervillain Negative Forbush Man seized the wish-fulfilling Infinity Wart from its original owner, Irving Forbush, otherwise known as Forbush Man. Negative Forbush Man had the intent of using the wart to rule all of reality. Now, Milk and Cookies is oblivious to this, and they were in their civilian identities just sitting around having some ice cream. But they collided with Forbush's own Aunt Mayhem. Now, she recognized the superheroes and rudely asked for their help finding her missing nephew. Now, the streets were then raided by the skyscraper-high, pitch-black Negative Forbush Man. Milk quickly identifies him as similar but different to Forbush, partly due to the different hairstyle of the pot-wearing Forbushes. Negative Forbush Man teleported Mayhem away and threatened to change history and rebuild worlds. Even if Milk was still dubious, Cookies quickly recognized Negative Forbush Man as a villain due to the latter's dialogue fonts. Now, Negative Forbush Man stops Milk and Cookies pretty much effortlessly and looks between the heroes' dark sides to create evil versions of themselves. Negative Forbush Man finally shapes villains, bread and water, the punishment that counterweights Milk and Cookies. While Cookies confronted water, Milk faced bread. Bread absorbed Milk's lactile energy without being harmed, but Bread was not very eager to fight a part of herself. Instead, they chatted about different kinds of philosophy. Milk convinces Bread that each of them were an individual with their own needs and identities, and Bread agreed to battle Milk, although only in a fair fight. Milk soon discovers that she was no match for Bread. Now, Cookies was having trouble with his doppelganger too. He regrouped with Milk and suggested a new strategy. Instead of refusing to fight, as Milk had proposed, Cookies insisted in headbutting their enemies to victory. The plan was somehow successful to Negative Forbush Man's dismay. Now, Negative Forbush Man reduces his size and attacks Milk and Cookies, shooting them with sharp marble merchandise and then collapsing time and space to summon all other heroes in the Marble universe, or at least Ant-Man, Beastie, Bulk, Spidey-Man, and the Thug, to the same panel. Negative Forbush Man hoped that the combined weight of all of the heroes would crush Milk and Cookies inside the panel. However, Milk had an escape plan. By focusing Cookie's strength in a single point of the panel's border, they could break it and move to a different panel, a location shot. Negative Forbush Man complained about it, but Milk and Cookies still succeeded. Negative Forbush Man then combined Earth 9047, the Humorverse, with that of Earth 8311, which is the Aniverse, which is basically a universe that is populated by furry humanoids. Shortly after, he then teleports away. He leaves behind a spy cam so that he could monitor the events of his secret lair, where he kept Irving Forbush as a prisoner. Milk is the first to notice that they were not in their own universe, and even recognized local hero Spider-Ham, when he appeared. Now, as Milk and Cookies were standing among the destroyed street due to their fight with the -4 Bushman, Spider-Ham just assumes that they were villains and confronts them. Milk and Cookies refuse to fight back in an attempt to prove their innocence, and Milk even explains that no one evil would actually be theme named after Milk and Cookies. Now, after that very fair arguing point, Spider-Ham then befriends Milk and Cookies. Now, when Milk and Cookies defeat their evil doubles, -4 Bushman sends in Spider-Ham's evil double, the huge pork Grind. Grind's superhuman strength and cartoon-based attacks defeated Cookies, and then he battered Milk. Spider-Ham explains to Milk and Cookies that, as they were now in the Aniverse, they were supposed to fight in toon style. Now, while Milk and Cookies watch, Spider-Ham allows Grind to comically beat him up, hoping that Milk and Cookies would learn the fighting style. However, the Humorversians did not really get it. When Grind defeated Spider-Ham, Milk and Cookies tried their best to fight toon style, only to be defeated anyway. Cookies were crushed and milk was spilled. Eventually, Spider-Ham defeats Grind by hitting him in his nose, impressing Milk and Cookies in the process. They were then found by Wolverina, another superheroine from the merging universes. Now, Wolverina had discovered -4 Bushman's plans, then promptly introduced herself and quickly took command of the team. Now, Wolverina guides the team through the sewers. Now, when Milk and Spider-Ham ask her about the sources of her information, Wolverina shows the Star's Guide to Supervillains' homes to them. Now, Spider-Ham became suspicious. Wolverina agreed that it was probably a trap, and she prepared a plan. Wolverina, Milk, and Cookies would then enter, first disguised as a ceremonial Lancer, while Spider-Ham waited for Cookie's signal to appear as a reinforcement to take -4 Bushman by surprise. However, when the trio enters -4 Bushman's lair, the villain revealed that he had detected them already by using his cosmic awareness. Milk then assumes that the -4 Bushman also knew about Spider-Ham and almost revealed that part of the plan, but Wolverina and Cookies slammed her against a wall to stop her from speaking. Cookies then signaled Spider-Ham to join the fray, while he and Wolverina attacked -4 Bushman. Milk joined them, milking -4 Bushman with her bolts. Now, -4 Bushman stunned Milk and Cookies with his energy bolts, but Spider-Ham webbed -4 Bushman before the coup de grace. -4 Bushman then confronts and defeats Irving Forbush, but just before the killing blow, Wolverina lashed the Infinity Wart with her razor-sharp nails, and -4 Bushman quickly sparkled and burst, leaving behind a crater as well as a shockwave. Milk and Cookies believed that -4 Bushman had died, but Wolverina was quite skeptical. Irving Forbush then suggested that the 5 of them then form a permanent team, but none of the others really wanted to. Now, in the "What bigger villain could we face" storyline, Galacticus, not Galactus, Galacticus, travels to Earth with the sole intent of eating it. Milk and Cookies quickly travel into the Earth's orbit to face him. They try to feed his hunger with their own powers, but they discover their powers alone were not nearly enough to stop him. Milk had used this time to then plan a strategy. Milk then proceeds to read Galacticus the polluted ingredients of Earth, and he decides to leave, looking for the world of broccoli aliens instead. Now, the powers and abilities of Milk are quite unusual as well as underwritten for the most part. She has the ability to fire bolts of lactile energy that are thrown from her hands or even from her feet at times. The bolts cause kinetical damage that can also be used to generate streams of liquid milk. Milk can generate these bolts quite effortlessly. These bolts do not only damage the target, but they also spawn dairy products that are expelled from the impact point. She has the ability of flight, as she is propelled by a stream of milk from her feet. The pressure is so immense that it creates the ability of flight. She also can create and generate force fields. In airless environments such as outer space, Milk can cover herself in a sort of cocoon of milk to survive. She can even pierce the cocoon with the tips of her fingers and shoot bolts at any would-be enemies. Now, Milk's hair is a semi-liquid substance. This pseudo-hair can be grabbed and even pulled, but it explodes into spilled milk when it slams any kind of force, like a wall or a floor. But it will only be regenerated back to normal within mere seconds. Milk is knowledgeable in several areas of expertise, including classical architecture, historical folklore, and the composition of planet Earth. Milk also knows for a fact that she is a comic book character. She, unlike many of the fourth wall-breaking comic characters, can even perceive the word balloons around her and her friends, and even understands the borders and panels inside the comic book itself. In our personal opinion, she definitely needs a newer comic run. She is definitely worthy of some respect in the Marvel or the Marble universe. And we enjoy the weird, wild, and wacky abilities, oddly being, surprisingly, quite useful in the long run. Anyway, this is what we know of the character Milk of the Marvel Universe. Have a good day, a good night, a good morning, whichever. Please like, share, and subscribe. We really do appreciate it. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this video, as well as what character you might want to see on this channel, and we'll see if we can't make it happen. As always, Excelsior.
Okie dokie 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 dokie.